this is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Discover Brightside, the video podcast and network. And I am so pleased today to have at our studio Heather, who is an author of Create Your Own Table. So let me begin by introducing you to this really wonderful, multifaceted woman who I have had the delight of knowing for the last 2 months. And what's interesting is that she moved to New York City in 1995, and I did too. And she lives in Murray Hill, and I did too, but we never met until now. So we're also going to take you through some lovely areas in Murray Hill. So stay tuned, watch the video till the end so that we can tell you how you can get all the other parts of this video. So Heather, wow, you've lived an interesting life. You came to New York in 1995. You studied architecture,
Yes.
and that kind of shows your design and your beauty, and we'll come to that in a minute. And she also started a career as an environment consultant. In 2012 she launched her first company, All the Tastes of New York, and then she released her first book, Discovery: The New York Craft Spirits Boom, in 2015. She started her second company in 2017 with Taste Brands to work with craft distilleries, and followed with her second book, Before the Glass: Things to Consider When Entering the Booze Business, in 2018. In 2021, she began her career as a content creator and a lifestyle model. And today she enjoys speaking, coaching through her own company, Dolman Creative Solutions. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. And now we're on to this latest venture of yours, Create
Yes.
Your Own Table. So, why don't you tell us what inspired the book, and why now?
Absolutely. So thank you so very much for having me, Elizabeth. Being on this platform has been such an honor and it has brought me so much exposure. So thank you for that. Very much value everything that you're doing and just the community as a whole. It has been very enriching. But when I decided to write Create Your Own Table, I realized that it is really at the culmination of my life to this point, right? Because I realize that so many of us have a lot of knowledge, and unfortunately, we don't value that knowledge. And because we don't value that knowledge, we don't understand how to leverage it. And as a result, we end up remaining very stuck in our lives. And rather than being stuck and being frustrated that you're not being invited to someone else's table, the goal is that you're able to create your own. And so I tell my story, and thank you for that tremendous present that introduction. I'm like, wow, I really did do a lot of things and I lived a lot of lives. And I will tell you, for many years, that was actually almost a source of embarrassment. It might sound strange because we are taught that we begin our lives one place and you spend the next 30 years and you get to the end, and the end may or may not be what you like it to be, and then you just like you disappear away from society. And that was never, I'm like, life is for living. The idea of just doing something and not being happy and just keep doing it because that's what you're supposed to do, I went against that grain. It was the idea of just remaining unhappy, and I was always just very much driven by happiness. And so the idea of just living a life and remaining unhappy, I'm like, no, this is, I need to figure that thing out. And so with each step, and that's essentially what a lot of the premise of the book is, to just taking that step. You may not be certain of what that final destination might be, but all you have to do is take that step, that first little step. It doesn't have to be huge. And I think that's another thing. We often think that in order to be able to make a huge change and to get huge results, you have to do these big actions. But you really don't. It's just so small, consistent actions over time. it'll yield results. And more than anything else, even if you're not certain, you can still take that step because that step will give you clarity. It will let you know, yes, I'm going in the right direction, or no, I'm not. And there's nothing wrong with getting that no. All that no does again is give you clarity. And it helps you know, okay, this is the time to shift. And I realized, there was so much happening in the world when I sat to write this, and there were so many people losing jobs, but people with tons of experience. And to me, it's such a tragedy that when you are closer to retirement, that brain power and that knowledge is taken out. And I'm like, but you know everything. You've done all of those things. We now need to be able to rely on you. And rather than trying to retire out of a life that you hate, let's focus on creating the life that you actually love by creating your own table. So that is the reason for this book, Here and Now, Create Your Own Table, A Guide to Discovering Your Purpose. And yes, that is what brought us here at this moment.
Well, I have some exciting news. So the Brightside Book and Film and Review Club has all bought Heather's book. And one of the things we do in the club is we buy books and we read books and we review books. And so right now everybody's, but this is such a thick book and this is such a big book. And so actually we are actually reading it together because I get phone calls and people are reading your book and they're asking me
Thank
my
you.
opinion about what do you think about what Heather wrote and what do you think about the book. And so I think this has been a very exciting journey, not just for you writing the book but for our audience because they are
Thank
all
you.
enjoying the book. And then Heather did two amazing events with our audience, Empower America and Empower Global, and she had these cards with
Yes.
quotations in them and did some lovely exercises and won everybody's hearts. And so I think what you're doing, Heather, is just fabulous. It's just
Thank you.
fabulous. And we are all just excited about the book, and now we're all reading it. And I have to read it even deeper now because my audience is forcing me to, because they're asking me so many questions about what I thought about this. Um, and the title is fabulous. How did you pick such a great title? It just resonates with everyone. Yeah.
So I had, and it's amazing how things, again, back to the premise, right? We're doing stuff and you're not really thinking about what it is that you've done or even looking back. We're just living. And I had shot I shot a YouTube video. And again, I was speaking about working with different people who were just very frustrated. And the advice that I had given in that video, I'm like, rather than being frustrated, why don't we focus on controlling our controllables, right? Because you're trying to control everything and everyone that's around you. All that does is frustrate you. But the tail end of that, I was like, let's just control your own controllables and create your own table. And I just said it. It was something that literally just came out of my mouth. And as I'm sitting and again, so this would have been February 2025, there were these mass layoffs that were happening. And continuously, it felt like every other time I was listening to the news and there was a speaker or what and somebody sharing frustration. And they're like, I've been working so hard to be getting, invited to this table and I can't be invited to this table. And I'm just like, there's a lot of table talk. I was like, well, why don't we just create our own? It was just a thought. And then for whatever reason, someone had commented on that same Instagram post, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Is
Yeah.
create your own table. Let's just focus on that because we all have that ability. What we lack is that confidence and
Yes.
that belief in ourselves.
Yes.
And especially if you've been beaten down
Yes.
and you're just like you've done all the things and nothing is working out and you're feeling like a personal failure. And it's so tragic because I have then really just turned all my failures into its own brand.
Yes. It's
Truly.
Well, the new table now is selfies. So
Uh,
the latest thing now is, when people are taking selfies and then, you're like, well, she didn't want to take a selfie with me. And so popular people are like, you come and have a selfie with me, but, they're taking photos and leaving people out. And then, posting it on Instagram, on Facebook. And then, you've been part of the group, but you're not in the selfie. So, so create your own photos. If somebody leaves you out of their photo, be happy, be grateful, take your own photo and just be proud of it. That's my opinion about it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so people do that often, right? I mean, they have tables that they don't want to have certain people on their tables, or you feel left out. It could be a work situation, it could be a relationship situation, it could be an in-law situation, it could be
Sure.
any situation.
Sure.
So, what advice would you give people who have been left out of a table or left out of a situation or intentionally, deleted out of a photo, which is now the
So
latest thing in Instagram?
So to be able to just help to channel our thoughts, I would answer this from a professional standpoint because that is where people generally are the most stuck, right? And that table is usually the corporate one. And back to the conversation about the glass ceiling, like you feel like you just can't get past this level where you're stuck. And the first thing that I encourage people to do is just owning authenticity and understanding who they are and what that calling is on their soul. I genuinely believe that each of us, we have our own unique soul message, that thing that we want to do, but for whatever reason, you haven't done it. And often it is you feel like you're not qualified, or you may have shared those ideas with someone around you and they didn't understand it. They then discounted your ideas, which impacted your belief, and you didn't move forward. And I would, when I'm speaking those individuals, there is often so much hurt because they don't feel like they have family support or friend support. And I would say, the gift was given to you, the message was given to you, it wasn't given to them. So give them grace, but don't allow that to have you lose who you are. If this is something that is meaningful to you, so that's the first question, is what is that calling on your soul? If you are desirous of creating your own table, what is that, how are you going to serve? And that's another really important element, just thinking about it. The purpose of a table, the primary purpose of any table, is to serve. If you're going to be creating any kind of business or brand, it needs to be built around service. It doesn't have to be, but that is simply the easier path forward. Because if you are solving a problem, then it allows you to be able to have a lot more clarity as you are creating that table. Who am I creating it for? What are the pain points that these people or these individuals have? What is that thing that I have gone through that I may be able to help somebody else go through? And you don't even have to be that far ahead. You just had to have had transformation. And if you can then empower and uplift, those to me are like the two biggest elements of gaining that clarity on how to create that space that is your own, because then you're able to stand really authentically in your truth. You're not trying to pull and be a version of anybody else. You're owning your own story, which I'm a huge proponent of. It's like, what is that story of you? And again, people just think that they're living. It's like,
Yes,
I don't have anything to, who's interested? But there's
yes,
always somebody that does. And so it's really being able to bring that forward is probably, those are the two biggest elements.
yeah,
Having that, yeah, and
yeah.
knowing that.
I get that completely all the time, which comes to who is the audience for the book? Who did
So
you write the
prime,
book for?
sure. So primarily, my audience is a lot. Yes, there are men as well, but it's primarily women between 40 to 60. Because in that 40-year gap, you have realized that all those things that you've been doing, you're not at that corner suite just doesn't seem to be coming. The raise doesn't seem to be cutting it anymore, but you know that you have so much left and you want to be able to get that all those things done, and it provides you, so it the one thing this book does it allows you to bring those thoughts forward, like I mentioned. What is that calling on your soul? Who are those people that you'd like to serve? What are those challenges that you're able to overcome? And it brings those thoughts forward. And for the individuals that are closer to 60 and closer to retirement, I realize in that particular demographic, again, they realize that there's so much knowledge that they have. And you could, God willing, have another 20, 30, 40 years left.
Yeah.
And it's not about retiring out of a life that you hate. It's about creating a life that you love. And we were taught why we were taught to that you're supposed to just suffer through. It's an old adage, but we live in a very different time where the gatekeepers of the past no longer exist, right?
Right.
You
They
don't
don't.
have to, if you need to write a book, you don't have to have a publisher. You
Right.
can go and self-publish. If
Yes.
you're a songwriter, you don't need a producer. You could just upload your stuff yourself. So we're not in that permission-based society anymore where we need permission to do all these things. We have that power now in a time and a way, and especially with artificial intelligence being what it is, giving us the tools to be able to just truly collapse timelines in our creative, like as I was sharing with you, I recently completed a program that is a wonderful accompaniment to this book. Is called the Empowerment
Yes.
Blueprint, and using AI to be able to just help with edits. And there's so many tools so that you're able to get all these things done so much faster. And so just knowing that, just embracing change, number one, right? And that we can do all of these things and it doesn't take forever. That's huge. I feel like that is so liberating
Yes.
because it allows the playing field to be much more even for all
Very,
of us.
very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what lies ahead? What are the future plans with Create Your Own Table? And
Oh, so I right now it is really just focusing on supporting those individuals who have found that clarity and helping them to be able to create their own. That is really like my mission. There is no better word to use to describe what I'm on than that. It was creating the book so you understand exactly who I am. Low barrier to entry. I have it also so you could read it. It's in paperback. It's also on Kindle, and then it's on Audible. So if you're that person that's on the go, I made sure that I provided it in different formats so it's easy to consume. I also made sure that, okay, the next step is now to create that blueprint, right? And that is why I created the Empowerment Blueprint program to be able to provide those individuals that have gotten clarity, to be able to provide them with that blueprint so that they could create the life that that they are desirous of, and the life that they don't have any interest in retire. In my mind, it's like, why would I retire from
yeah,
something that I love? Like,
yeah.
there's no need.
I know we saw that magic happen because we did a Caribbean table and we had people that were huge fans of yours. And so you delighted everybody, and we were able to bring the elements of different people in and creating their own tables. And we had a lot of fun, especially in the breakout rooms as well. So I want to thank you so much for this interview. If there's anything last minute you want to add before I close, but tell us where your website is, tell us how to get the book and all the great stuff. If they want to to hire you as a coach, what's available on your website and what are the services you offer?
Absolutely. So my website is doltam.com. So it's www.doltam.com. And to help you remember that, it's essentially the marriage of my two last names. So my last name is Dolland Tamam. So it's doltam.com. I made it super simple. And on there, I offer a series of services, free resources as well, to help you to understand, gain clarity, understanding what is your why, building your brand,
You froze a minute. All
are
right.
that if
Yes, you
like
froze
all
for a
of
minute. Yes.
yes. So it the website will help you to be able to just gain some clarity. You can reach out to me, we can do one-on-ones, and the book is truly is available on Amazon, but Barnes and Noble, a lot of major retailers, and it is available in audiobook as well. But thank you so very much again for this opportunity. I greatly appreciate being here.
Yes, and make sure that when you get a book that you write a review. One of
Please.
the things that we are teaching the Brightside audience is there's two things, video and reviews. If you believe in algorithms, if you want your story heard, if you want to be ranked high online, then video, according to Cisco, is the number one. Most people make decisions when they watch a video, and most people will buy a book based on the reviews that they have read. So make sure you support Heather. And if you can write it on Amazon, that's awesome. I know Amazon has a lot of rules and regulations, and many people have been disappointed because some of their reviews have been rejected. But keep trying, and Amazon will eventually approve you. And try to write a review on Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere
Thank
that you
you.
are, because reviews not only help her, they also help you to grow a bigger audience. Because when you write a review for someone else, you get noticed as well. So if you didn't know that, it's a great trick to get credible and to get ranked high. So you are watching Discover Brightside, and go to discoverbrightside.com. And just because you watched this whole video from the beginning to the end, we will give you 2 tickets to our next show, and you can come live into the studio and meet authors like Heather and talk to them, get autographed books. We do giveaways every month, and you can get a subscription to our channel as well as to our magazine. So stay tuned, keep watching, keep us alive, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.